Hello, world. I'm Chris Pirillo, acting as a person here. Well, I'm not really acting. I'm just me, right? And I'm directing and producing and doing everything I need to do here so that I can do this for you. Thank you for tuning in live. If you did tune in live, if not, well, thank you for watching. I appreciate it. You're watching another live edition. Maybe you're listening to it, as we do produce it as a podcast as well, simulcasting it really as a backup of the LockerGnome Daily Report, or TLDR for short, your daily dose of geek news, reviews, and answers that you can use, like an answer to the question, Chris, are you ever going to eat macaroni and cheese? Yes and no. I've got these Star Wars shapes for macaroni and cheese, and I'm not going to make them with the cheese powder. I'm going to make them and then put some other kind of sauce on it. So I will have Star Wars pasta. It's awesome. Pulled these out today because it was a part of the CPU episode that I recorded earlier. I don't know if everybody's been watching the CPU episodes we've been producing in the Classic channel. Edited video, across a range of topics, things that I find fascinating that I want to talk about. And those videos are edited, upbeat, and everything, versus the videos that we're doing in this channel, which tend to be long form, very talky. But I like to talk. I really do. So if you like to listen, this is going to be a match made in heaven. Now, if you don't like to listen, this is just going to be absolutely horrific for you, and I recommend finding another video or podcast to listen to. Of course, if you didn't like to listen, why would you be subscribed to a podcast? Why would you be subscribed to a channel? I don't know. It's anybody's guess. So the biggest news today that I saw, and there's been a lot of news out there, is in relation to something that Apple was just talking about and only showcased in an early alpha form at one of their last presentations. Apple's moving forward with the idea of eliminating iPhoto. Long overdue. I liked the idea of iPhoto and then quickly fell out of love with it after I used it for a week. iPhoto is one of the absolute worst photo management tools outright in terms of performance, not necessarily for features, but it's not great. I never liked iPhoto. Never liked it. I tolerated it. I kind of used it ish-nessly, but beyond that, it was just there. I liked iMovie. I still like iMovie. It works quite well for video editing, but iPhoto is a completely different beast. And then I picked up a license for, what was their photo editor that they've killed? Not Premiere, that's Adobe, and that's video. God, I'm far off. It was Lightroom? No, that's Adobe too. What's the photo? Aperture. It looks cool. I liked what Aperture was in theory, but it was a little too much for me. It was very pro, and I didn't use it much past a couple of days. So that's now been sunset, and so Apple is effectively going to be merging the two, even though it's more like the next version of iPhoto than it is the new version of Aperture, because they've killed Aperture. It's never coming back. They're saying no, it's just not going to happen. I hope they never cut Final Cut Pro 10. I love Final Cut Pro. It's what I use to edit all the time. You've seen me post screenshots when I'm editing a vlog. It's very, very efficient. Liz asks, am I fidgeting with something? It's coming with the audio. Am I fidgeting? Is it popping? If the mic is popping, I'm not fidgeting with anything that I know of. This is the beauty of doing things on your own live. If it sounds like I'm fidgeting with something, I apologize. I'm working on getting better equipment in here so that I don't seem to suck as much as I really do. I will do my best not to use my hands for the remainder of the video. Liz, is that going to make you happy? I don't know. Okay, I'm going to continue talking about photos, because that's the name of it. And I think a good name for it. I mean, photos. Very simple. So you could get photos if you registered as a developer. This would be considered not even beta. Really, they'll be releasing a public beta, I believe, at some point in the near future. If not public, then, private beta. And then, of course, we expect to see a new version of this app, or a full version, first version of the app, in spring sometime here in the next couple of months. I'm very much looking forward to it because it looks so easy to use. It looks very clean. It looks very simplified, yet beyond the simplification of the interface, a lot of powerful tools sit underneath. Or rattling. Someone's rattling? I don't think anything's rattling unless I hit the desk. Is it my beer? Okay, I'll try to drink all this beer. That's a good beer. It's a strong beer. I will try not to touch my desk. There's nothing rattling in this room. I don't know what's going on with that. So, download it if you want, but the feature set is such that it's geared more towards novices, yet powerful enough to be used by maybe not professionals, maybe prosumers. It's the type of photo editing tool I like to use. I'm not a photo editor. I don't like editing photo. I don't even like editing video. But the nice thing about where they're going with photos is all those images, instead of being stored locally, suddenly go to the cloud. And I've been very much looking forward to having one point of organization for a lot of the images that I've had in the past. And it seems that this would be about the best place for them. The only caveat that I would throw out there is that I don't know if I trust Apple fully. I don't trust any company fully, but especially with cloud services. They're not Prime. Not to be confused with Amazon Prime. I would want to see a lot more stability, a lot fewer bugs, certainly. I don't think anybody would argue against that, but it's one of the things that really would keep or attenuate my, not just attention, but my excitement for the product, is knowing full well that if their cloud service doesn't work, it's another photo app. It's great. I've been using it great from the perspective of it's long overdue. And of course, integrating this across, their operating systems, so iOS and OS X. It's nice because for the longest time, my favorite photo editor and photo management tool was Picasa. Picasa is now owned by Google. Really hasn't been updated all that much in recent years, but it used to be shareware. It used to be $30 to get Picasa. I remember Picasa from like version 1.0, and it was back then, it was awesome. To this day, it's still, to me, in my opinion, it's without competition. It's one of the better photo management tools that I've ever found. So there's never really been a good version of Picasa on OS X. There's been a decent version, but Google really hasn't done much with it, and they need to. Whether they reboot that software or do something entirely different, they need to do something. If only because Google is tied into the cloud. And when you have a native app running on the desktop that synchronizes with your phone, well, you need compelling experiences from Microsoft, hello, OneDrive, and from Google. So it's a big deal. Even if you don't think this is a big deal, it is an absolutely gigantic deal. I am so looking forward to a final version of Photos. I'm a little hesitant in trying alphas and betas. I'll wait until they feel it's production ready. And then, even then, I'll be keeping backups of backups, right? I mean, of photos that I just don't want to lose. I will say this, too. And maybe this is going to change as Jedi gets older. I really don't do a lot of, I do photos, but most of what I might do, I know this sounds weird, but maybe weird, different. I either put in the vlog, hello, video, or I record a video for YouTube as a vlog, or I document and usually just post to Instagram. Oh, I know, that's so horrible. Because you can have such high quality photos and Instagram shrinks them, but I'm just not a photo guy. Now, I do want to tell you about something else. There was an update pushed out today from one of the apps that I really wanted to talk about. And I did the other week. If you were paying attention, and hopefully you were, you may have caught me mentioning this app called Hydra. They pushed out basically a bug fix for Hydra. Hail Hydra. Yeah, ha ha ha, joke. That's great. So, Hydra, I'm thinking shareware. It's paid. You pay a couple bucks. It's the best camera app I've ever used. Best, in terms of its features. No doubt about it. Best, leading, top, number one. If you use iOS, iPhone specifically, you need to be using Hydra. And if you don't want to pay for the app, My recommendation is you can earn it, get iTunes gift cards or exchange app points. Use go.tagjag.com/free apps or go.tagjag.com/free points. But I'm telling you, pay for the app or earn the app redeem code by using those two services, and you won't have to pay anything, and they'll still get the money. Trust me, I'm sure they're very happy that I'm even talking about it. I demonstrated this, I thought, in TLDR, but someone tweeted me earlier. Let me see if I can find a good low light photo here. I think I shot this direction last time. Okay, give me a second, folks. I want to be able to better demonstrate the low light capabilities of this particular app, which is a big deal if you shoot indoors. So it's got several settings, HDR, and I'm not thrilled with their HDR. It's improved with the update today, but if you take HDR photos specifically outside, this is definitely one of the better HDR dedicated camera apps that I've found. You can also do video HDR, which is usable. It's not fantastic, but it is usable. Low light is amazing, zoom is amazing, and high res is also amazing. So you can produce a 32 megapixel image, probably bigger than 32 megabytes. The zoom, see if I can better explain the zoom. I gotta find a good example. Let's do that, because I don't know if a lot of this is going to translate from photo to video. You gotta hold perfectly still, or as still as you possibly can. It'll compensate. Okay, it saved. So I'm going to do my best. I'm tethered to that device that I talked about a few weeks ago because I needed to recharge my battery. I was low. Let's do this because it saves the original image as well as the edited image. So here is, if I can get a good example here. See, I don't know if this is going to translate in video. Okay, let's try that. You guys getting? See if you're getting that at all. So it's grainy, it's noisy, it's a bit fuzzy. That is the native image as taken by the camera on the iPhone. And there is far less noise, even though I don't know if that's really showing up the way that it's showing up here. It's smoother, there's less noise. Boy, maybe that's not a good example. I'm looking at the preview of what you see, and it looks radically different on the screen. Is this a better example? No, it's not a better example. But okay, what I'm saying is, when you see it up close, you can see the difference. There's less noise for the low light photos. HDR tends to capture more of a range. It snaps together several shots. Zoom works better because it composites a whole bunch of images into one image, so it's sharper. There's less noise. It just works. It works better than the default camera. I'm sorry, I was trying to demonstrate it on screen, but it just didn't. It's not going to translate because of the white balance on what you're seeing here. There's only so much I can do on my side, but if you don't want to pay for it, just earn it for free using go.tagjag.com/free points or go.tagjag.com/free apps. So don't sit there and say, I don't want to pay for an app, because I just told you how to get it for free. Psh, it's your virtual slap. Psh. So there we go. I've talked for how long? You're kidding. 13 minutes about photos? Well, it's a big deal. People like managing photos. What do you use to manage your photos? What do you use to edit photos? What do you use? Do you use one thing? Do you use several things? Do you edit photos at all? Most people don't. Most people, not all people. Found something that I would love to show you on screen. Unfortunately, I do not have the rights to show you again, but you got to see this. There's a man who lives in Venezuela. He's a Venezuelan man who has had facial surgery and will continue to do so to look more like Red Skull. And I saw this and I'm like, wow. Like, he would have to find someone, a significant other, a counterpart, who loved the universe of Captain America. Wow. Because he looked not quite like Red Skull, but he was Red Scully. All the way down to his nose. It was, you gotta see it. You're not going to believe it. And you don't have to read much either. I know it's TLDR. I keep hitting this desk. This desk is kind of rattly. Okay, before I forget, I do want to say that I did get Star Wars issue 002. I subscribed to it, but they didn't send it, or I guess the subscription has not picked up yet. Very much looking forward to reading this. Still haven't. Picked it up last night, as I talked about in the Pirillo vlog, which will be published in a few days. But I'm waiting for the subscription to start, and then it's just going to be revolving because, I'm probably going to love this forever. Can't wait to dive into it. Very, very excited about this. And then I've thought about doing my review of each particular issue potentially as a CPU episode. I'm not sure what people think about that, and I don't know if maybe it's a Q&A more than a CPU episode, but I just can't help but feel that Star Wars it's huge now. I think it's about to explode. I really genuinely do, because of what Disney is doing and the moves that Disney is making. And I, of course, love that universe. So I wanted to say, or Galaxy, far, far away. I do have 002 for those who have asked on Twitter. And there have been people who have asked on Twitter. Speaking of Twitter, its CEO that I once exchanged emails with, not when he was at Twitter, but when he was still with Feedburner, Dick Costello asks, pardon me, he doesn't ask. I'm used to, looking at a screen and saying this person asks, hey, this is a good stout. This is a good Imperial stout. This is featured in the CPU episode I recorded today for the Classic channel. That's right. It is a Hobbit stout. A Smaug stout. And I love it. I'm going to go back to the store and buy another. And another. I'm going to buy 2 more. So I'm going to buy one and drink it. And then I'm going to buy one and just keep it within the bottle as a collectible. Because I can. That's why. So, Dick, Earth Dick came out. I think, you know what? Here's the thing. Let's just start calling Dick of Twitter. That's his name, Dick. Let's just call him Earth Dick. Does anybody... Dude, if you do not get that reference, I'm sorry. I am going to subtract 20 nerd points from your card. Earth Dick. Earth Dick. So to me, Dick Costello, he's Earth Dick. He takes personal responsibility, basically, for a lot of the trolling and the company's trolling problem. And he says there's going to be stronger action against any kind of harassment. I'll wait to see what happens. Twitter is just, I thought YouTube was horrific, but Twitter is pretty bad. Twitter's just as bad as YouTube. But what keeps Twitter in check is the fact that when you reply to someone, other people may not see your reply, versus a reply on YouTube where everybody sees your reply, or a reply on Facebook, everybody sees your reply. On YouTube, the worst people usually make it to the top of the comment chain. On Facebook, you usually kind of get buried, amongst an array of comments. On Twitter, it's kind of buried, but it's still a problem. So it's nice to know that Twitter is paying attention to the amount of harassment that's going on across the board. I think this does more to hurt the people who would be considered the people who use Twitter, more so than the people that they're trying to onboard. Twitter has got a responsibility, and I think it's a global responsibility. It is the place, it is the resource where news breaks. Really. Twitter is my primary news feed. I'll be honest. It really genuinely is. So thank you for following all of our accounts on Twitter. Pirillo Vlogs. Diana's got an account. LockerGnome. In fact, LockerGnome. Well, speaking of, before I forget, I better do this. Because today, I guess it's Weatherperson Day. So we found a whole bunch of awesome things. Like, things, if you love weather. And I wanted to be a weatherman when I was a kid. So if you want to celebrate Weatherperson's Day, we've got some awesome things to look at. Including, like, socks that have, like, weather patterns on them. I have God, I wonder if I still have it. A tie with weather map symbols on it. My favorite weather symbol, God, what would it be? I have to think about that, because I've got a few. I like symbols. Symbols are fun. So anyway, Weatherperson's Day today. Oh, and the MyType Bluetooth keyboard is 27% off. The iMac giveaway is still happening. The Revogi Bluetooth Smart Light Bulb, 30% off. This is a pretty big deal if you are into deals at all at deals.lockergnome.com. And, of course, lockergnome.com straight up for more information. And thank you for paying attention to the stuff that we're producing for you on a regular basis. Twitter is not done with the news. Apparently, it's reached a deal with Google to be indexed with search results, which is great because there are times when I'll search for a tweet, and I know it's been done and it hasn't been removed, and I'll have to go to a third-party service that scraped it as a first result to get to that tweet. So I'm very much looking forward to deeper integration with Google, if only because I do use Google, and I think a lot of people do as well. So I'm glad they reached a deal. Google, Twitter. I don't know if this is signaling what's about to happen, because there was a rumor, and I hate spreading rumors, and I'm wiping my face because I hope it's not true, that Twitter is going to be acquired by Google, but man, Twitter's going to be acquired. Period. End of story. It's just too strong of a force. I do not want Google to acquire it. I don't want Apple to acquire it. I don't want Microsoft to acquire it. I don't want Facebook to acquire it. I don't know who I want to acquire it. I don't want a major entity. You know, it's Twitter's just too good. It's just too good. It's just too, for what it is, you know, and they're inching forward with features. But, you know, when you mess with the formula, Facebook sucks. Compared to the way it used to be, it's horrible. How much you want to bet you, if you're watching my video right now, have not seen a Facebook post of mine in months, if not years. And I'm posting every day. Facebook buries my posts. You have to go directly to my page to see the stuff that I'm doing. Most people won't. They don't. And okay, fine, whatever. Subscribe in Flipboard. You know, subscribe to my feeds in Flipboard. That'll keep you going. This is one of the reasons why we're this close, waiting to hear back from the company, because they're building apps for other entities. They're going to reboot the LockerGnome app, which is likely going to be named Gnomies, because you're all my Gnomies. We've got Super Gnomies, a.k.a. the patrons, and you're all my Gnomies. Therefore, everybody will be able to get the app, and yes, it will be free. I've been very, very careful about that, but I hope to have an update on that relatively soon. So, how far are we into this? Oh, about 21 minutes. I got 3 other stories, which I should probably wait. Well, you know, I think I am going to wait. Just as a teaser, they were all sent by Earl Green, who is a patron. He sends me a roundup of news every day, and some of them, the headlines I hadn't seen. So I want to talk about some of these things tomorrow, and hopefully you don't necessarily mind. 1, Taiwan has outlawed iPads and other electronic gadgets for children under the age of 2. Another story I want to talk about, techies homeschooling their kids. And, okay, those 2 I want to talk about tomorrow because they're deeper stories. The third one I'll talk about today. Emoji apparently is a big deal. I love emoji, by the way. I cannot wait for Chrome 42. I think it's in Chrome 42 now. Emoji support finally, officially, rather than just in the Omnibar within the web page itself. It's about time. It took them a decade. No, not that long. Chrome really needs to double down on a lot of usability. A survey has found that emoji users are more likely to have sex. So if your significant other does not like emoji, research suggests that there may be other parts of your relationship which may not be all. Maybe more. How do you do an emoji poo other than holding up the emoji poo pillow, which is in our front room right now? It's a fascinating study. Emoji, and you know what? I use emoji. I mean, does this have anything to do with that? I don't know. You can interpolate. Who am I to say? I'm just saying I like emoji. I got no problem with emoji. I love rebuses. A rebus is beautiful. A beautiful rebus. Although, and speaking of words and having fun with words and language and communication, Dial-A-Song had been rebooted by They Might Be Giants, and they posted a song that was based on a villanelle, which is a style of a poem. And the villanelle, believe it or not, was one of my favorite styles. And apparently they don't like the villanelle. TMBG does not like the villanelle. So, you know, one of the lyrics, don't hate the villain, hate the villanelle. It is, I even tweeted it. It got retweeted too, or favorited easily by They Might Be Giants, TMBG on Twitter. Don't hate the villain, hate the villanelle. It was just, perfect. It was one of the better villanelles I've ever read because the villanelle was written about hating poetry or hating the villanelle. Trochees, dactyls. I love poetry. I do. I nerd out on poetry. I do. I always did. I always scansion and verse. Not even rhyme. Just the melody of language can be beautiful when you can take words and craft them in such a way that you evoke emotion on the other side of the page. I'm surprised I remembered trochees and dactyls. Iambics. Used to write it all the time. Not so much anymore. So, emoji. I should write... You know what? That's it. I'm writing a poem in emoji. I'm doing it. I'm going to do it. We'll do it live. We'll do it live. I'm not going to do it live right now. I'm going to do it later on because I have other things I got to do. I am going to go ahead and wind down now. I kind of talked about everything I needed to talk about today, saving those 2 stories for tomorrow. Thank you for paying attention. Thank you for your support. I'm going to roll into the patron hangout. If there was any rattling noise in this video, I do apologize. I need to reboot the system and probably change a few other million things on my end as well. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate you. I love you. But at this point, I'm going to leave you to your own devices.